Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the YouTube account and we are going to be doing the updated tier list, guys. Now we try to do this every single month, but it's been a couple months. Had a lot of new heroes introduced to AFK Arena, which is going to change up the tier list a little bit. Some heroes kind of moving up, moving down. Let's go ahead and get into the list. All right, guys, so here we are. We continue with this massive list. I got all the heroes in here now, including Damia and Gideus in here, to make sure that we really have the entirety of the heroes we have of AFK Arena as of today. Looking at our S+, we do have, of course, the majority of the Awakened heroes, guys. We have the Awakened version of Solus. Still a ton of utility used in pretty much every single game mode, including the PvP aspect, which is the same with Baden. We see him within the Curse Realm, Nightmare Corridor, Treasure Scramble still being used. A lot of formations are also, of course, used in the tower, as well as a lot of campaign formations still using these heroes. Now, the Awakened version of Belinda is still the absolute strongest Awakened hero that we have seen. Every game mode she is used similar to the other ones, but overall, even at a lesser level, if you don't have her fully built out and maxed out, she does perform incredibly well in a lot of different game modes. And of course, still running one of the best in slot when it comes to the Treasure Scramble. So if you're looking to score a little higher in there, Belinda on the combination or even Belinda back row does work incredibly well. Now, Halos still kind of holding onto his spot in the S+. Now, he does provide a significant amount of buffs. We're going to have to see how this tier list actually changed based on Damia and the buffs that she is bringing to formations. It may drop Halos down a notch just for the simple fact that we are seeing a lot more presence with her. Now, she's only been out since, I believe, Tuesday, so we still have a little bit of time to see exactly where she lands. Now, looking at the Awakened version of Brutus, again, there are a lot of comps that he is the absolute best in slot. Still seeing him in the Twisted Realm, the Cursed Realm, Nightmare Corridor, even the Treasure Scramble, still having a lot of play within AFK Arena. Same thing with Matria. Matria is still running, of course, the full Hippo team, which works incredibly well. Treasure Scramble, she is utilized. Now, within the Cursed Realm, Nightmare Corridor, she is run without the Hippos, which is kind of interesting because of the dynamic of the buffing effect and the SP effect, but she is still doing incredibly well. Also doing the highest damage again in a lot of different game modes. Now we look at Rem, guys, the absolute monster crusher of damage. Even in the current Curse Realm, she is doing about 9 to 11 billion damage, which again is far more than any other hero. That is because of the help with Damia, with the buffs that we're providing in there and also the debuffs. Very, very strong. If you picked up one of them, I'm hoping it was Rem. Looking at Grez, guys, Grez is still used in all the formations. We're still seeing him, of course, a little bit of a build out to really make him effective with that 9 of 9 furniture. But overall, guys, Grez still holds on to a spot. I don't know how much for longer as we continue to get new heroes, but as of right now, guys, Grez is still doing very well in formations. And then, of course, the addition of the Awakened version of Athalia goes right to the S+ tier, guys. Not only is she doing a significant amount of damage in a lot of different game modes, but the SP effect that she brings to formations have actually amplified a lot of other heroes with damage. We've seen it with Thane being run, the Awakened version of Thane with the Awakened version of Athalia. We've also seen Athalia with Rem, again, providing that SP effect within there, and also buffer for Oden. Couple different formations, guys. The Awakened version of Athalia is still seeing a lot of gameplay. Now, looking at the S+, so kind of the tiers real quick, guys. S+, the S, and the S-. These three tiers are pretty much a bulk of the majority of heroes that you want to build within AFK Arena that really have either formations that are strictly built around them, or they provide a very, very strong support function within these game modes. So again, looking at our S, we have Joan of Arc. Of course, she is still the priority out of the Labyrinth store. Absolutely, guys. She has healing, she has stunning, she has buffing, pretty much everything you want to see in a support hero as well as an immunity is what you're getting when it comes to Joan. Now, looking at Amelia, the same, guys. Amelia could go back between S and S+. Reason why I didn't put her S+ was because she provides a significant amount of crowd control, but overall the damage is not super high. She plays almost as a support role with the energy regeneration with the frozen enemies. Overall, again, super effective and super good to have her built. Does work very well, again, within a bunch of different game modes. Rem, Amelia, Damia really need to find their place in AFK Arena because all of them, now that they've had the global release, and we've actually had them for everybody now to get. We will see exactly where these two ReZero heroes come in and where they do fit into every formation. Now the players have access to them. Looking at Alna, guys, still holding one of the best in slot. Run with the awakened version of Belinda, run with Baden, run with Grez, run with a ton of heroes with that 9 of 9 furniture, guys. Still seeing a ton of builds in there. Same with Anasta. Anasta is still run in a lot of formations. Might move her down to the S- again. When you look at the Mauler Tower, she dominates. When you look at the Brawler's Protection, still pretty good. When she engages with another target, again, the damage that she puts up or the debuff she puts up, still a very strong hero, still run in a lot more comps, but not as prevalent as she once was, which is the same with Mishka, guys. So we're seeing a lot of other heroes kind of replace Mishka. Now, of course, we're talking about the whale comps. When you look at free-to-play players, when you look at light spenders, things of that nature, if you don't have Kanisa and Rook, Mishka is a good sub in there. If you don't have Vathiel, you know, Estrelda is a good sub. There are a lot of variations in here which still keep the heroes. With these heroes specifically, even looking at Scarlet, guys, Scarlet still does an incredible amount of damage. Still sitting in a lot of different teams in different team comps. And the big reason is these heroes are easy to build. They're cheaper to build, they're easier to build, just for the simple fact that you can have access to the copies of them through the desired hero summons, faction summons, things of that nature, to have access to them. Now looking here, guys, I couldn't find the icon for Demia, but she is definitely S, if not S+. Again, she's been out a couple days. Overall, guys, she is everywhere. She is in literally every single formation, short of the treasure scramble that I've seen her as of yet. Not saying after this iteration or during this iteration she is not going to find a place within those teams. But again, when you look at Twisted Realm, Cursed Realm, Nightmare Corridor, she is built and already baked into every single team that we have seen so far. Since we actually had her released, even on the test server, we are still seeing her in all those formations. Then we get into Palmer, of course, damage amplification, crit damage with Palmer, guys, absolutely huge to build out this hero. I even have Palmer on my new account, works incredibly well. Lucretia, still the absolute solo when it comes to the tower, when it comes to the campaign, even still used at some best in slot within the Nightmare Corridor teams. Again, a solid build, solid sub hero if you don't have all of these Awakened heroes built. Now, Neve, of course, the buffer for the minions, the buffer for Baden, for Grez, for Solus, a bunch of different heroes that she provides the buffer. Not only that is the healing reduction that she does, plus the debuff remover makes her a very, very strong hero. Then we have the Awakened version of Thane, which of course falling in S. PvP is where we're really seeing him, and every now and then we see him in one of the Cursed Realm comps. I believe the Nightmare Corridor, we're still seeing him as well. Then we get into Mortis. Mortis still, of course, with the greed buff, still very, very strong with the damage amplification that he puts up on the heroes, which is the reason why he is in here. Same with Silas. Silas has immunity, has healing, has buffing, buffs the attack rating. Super strong hero, guys, to have built. Does require a little bit of investment, but overall still does incredibly well. Then looking at the twins, of course, they have still never been replaced. Even with some of the newer heroes, some of the teams, if you want to maximize your damage in pretty much any formations, the twins are going to be the ones that are going to bring that damage maximization in there, with the linking, with the haste, of course, doing a lot. Now, getting again into the S-, guys, these are still a big, big priority to build. So when we look at Albedo, the buffs for the dimensional heroes, even looking at Ainz, again, just being able to garrison him or still using him. A lot of players still do use Ainz because he still puts out a lot of damage, especially, again, if you're filling in slots from these Awakened heroes. The dim comps are still super strong, with Albedo, of course, with those buffers. Then we have Mulan. Mulan, of course, with the Treasure Scramble. I'm not seeing her in very many other game modes, but overall, she is kind of dominating the formations that she is in, which is similar to Kanisa and Rook. Kanisa and Rook, guys, still doing incredibly well. And of course, we have Vathiel and Kanisa and Rook, guys, both of those heroes kind of together. Out of those two, Vathiel would be my absolute build, because not only is he a very solid tank, but he provides buffs to the entire team. Where Kanisa and Rook has the crowd control, the chains, the energy disintegration. Vathiel will make sure the damage is there, which is very specific. when it comes to boss fights and things of that nature, where Kanisa and Rook might not be built in there, but Vathiel is. Now looking at Zolrath, again, still a lot of utility within the hero, utilized within the Treasure Scramble. Still seeing a lot of campaign play, still seeing tower play, we're still seeing, and still a very strong hero to build out. And then, of course, Frampton, with the rise of Matria, we've actually seen Frampton kind of a resurgent within that 5 Hypo team that has worked incredibly well. And you can get him in the shop now, which is, again, pretty good. But he does require a very, very big build out. Now, of course, the original version of Taylene, still seeing the play with Orthos within the Cursed Realm, again, the whale comps. I keep having to build her out actually stronger so we can actually get her to be the strongest hero now that we have Nevi kind of built, now that we have Silas built, to make sure she is the strongest one in the formation. Aziz still running with the Awakened version of Belinda, still running with a couple other crowd control aspects, works incredibly well. Gracio, we still see him as the highest damage, again, best in slot in some of the Nightmare Corridor teams, especially, again, if you don't have those Awakened heroes. Damon, of course, the tank that carries AFK Arena. Even in Chapter 48, where we're at right now, going into 49, or 49 going into 50, Damon is still used in a lot of different formations. Orin still rocking damage within the tower. He is actually the sub for the Awakened version of Thane, so a lot of people do use Orin in that slot, and also the current Cursed Realm that is going on, he is actually one of the best in slot heroes in there. And then, of course, within Nightmare Corridor, we are seeing the same with the best in slot heroes in there. Oden still doing a lot of damage, disintegration, energy disintegration. Also with formations, we are still seeing him again. A lot of game mode. Merlin, of course, with the shielding and the damage mitigation in there, again, works well. Raku still doing a lot of damage in a lot of formations. Same with Olgath. Olgath, I actually moved up, and the reason for it is we are seeing him in a couple of comps. Again, the whale comps are the best in slot comps, but we're also seeing him run without Matria, and it is still working well with the amount of damage that he's putting out. So it seems like he has finally found a place in a couple different teams. Rowan, of course, support up there for Belinda, and then Kren still doing a lot of damage. Again, if you don't have the Awakened heroes, guys, these are pretty much a majority of the sub heroes in those two factions. We're going to go through the A class, and then I'm just going to kind of run through the quick with the rest of these. Looking at the A, these are a lot of support heroes. So again, there are some variations in here. A majority of these heroes do fill kind of a niche slot within a lot of different formations, but if you don't have the hero, it's not going to alter the formation. Again, you can put some subs in there, you can do some changes in there with a few of these. Now, of course, a star has the damage mitigation, does a lot of damage, but if you don't have a star, there are some subs in there. Same with Pharrell, has some crowd control, that energy disintegration, depending on who you're fighting. A majority of the time that we see him now, players still use him in the Treasure Scramble every now and then, depending on who you have, but the Greyborn Tower, absolutely not seeing much formation and much utilization out of that, which is kind of similar with Lorzen. Lorzen, of course, the Thorn Cheese, the Lucretia Cheese, seeing him every now and then, again, in formations. Hodgkin, kind of the same. Hodgkin, of course, was a really big buffer with that black flag. But overall, again, not seeing a lot of utility. But all of these are 100% in formations, just not in as many formations as we've kind of seen in the past with the higher tier levels. Now, Zyra, of course, has a damage mitigation, has the immunity, has a healing. Very, very strong support, very similar to Silas, but doesn't provide the buffs for the attack rating. Now, Yennefer, of course, a lot of players are saying Demia and Yennefer are going to be running together. We have to see, again, she is utilized within the Treasure Scramble, and I think maybe one or two comps within the Cursed Realm right now, and that's really where we're seeing her. And then, of course, Gideus, Lightbearer Tower, absolutely. We've actually seen him again in a couple formations within Nightmare Corridor, within the Cursed Realm. We're going to have to see exactly if it sticks or if he's just going to be another hero that is going to be pushed to the tower. Same with Edwin, did incredibly well in the tower. Now we're starting to see him again in a couple formations in the Cursed Realm and a few other places, which makes him pretty viable. Same with Leonardo. Leonardo we see running usually with Raku, of course, for the damage amplification factor. But again, we're seeing him in some formations, but not too many. Now, looking at the awakened version of Aziz, we can probably even move him down now, just for the simple fact, again, short of the hypo tower, we're really not seeing him used very much. Even formations, I don't know any regular formations he's in, and essentially if you don't have him, or if you have him, you only need one copy, but there's no reason to build him out. Again, not a lot of utility there. Now, the awakened version of Taylene, again, still used in some formations. Also, of course, when it comes to the Celestial Tower, is huge, which is the same with Athalia, guys. PvP aspect, Athalia still does incredibly well, does a lot of damage within formations, but overall, it seems like with the awakened version of Athalia, we're not seeing her really played as much. And then, of course, we have the Orin, or the Iran and the Skarath combination. Both of those, of course, attribute to the 5-pull. Without them, the 5-pull does not exist. We see it sometimes with the Lucretia cheese. We also see it with the Thorin cheese. So they do still work pretty well. And then, of course, Skarath we're seeing in a couple different formations, which is kind of interesting to see. But he is actually moved into a couple different formations, and we're going to have to see exactly where it plays out. Now, Tamris, of course, brings buffs with the enthusiasm. He does incredibly well within formations for the buffing aspect, but similar to a majority of the heroes in here, we see kind of the exact same thing. Now, Kaylene, of course, being used in some formations. Again, we're seeing her not really as the best in slot within the formations, but both Kaylene and Valoris were kind of hand in hand, almost very similar heroes when they were released. Of course, the Greyborn Tower, she does incredibly well. She can tank, she can go frontline, backline. Again, a lot of utility. Now, Rain, of course, is still doing well because of the awakened version of Belinda. That was really the resurgent of this hero, guys, was she really wasn't being used a little bit, but then once the awakened version of Belinda came up, because of the energy and the shielding, she is used in all those formations. Then we have Leica, of course, with the Awe ability and also the defense reduction. Big in formations running with Zolrath. That is usually the super cycle they do. And then Skreg, of course, is the invade. When you look at Brutus, when you look at a couple other heroes, provides attack rating buff, damage mitigation, and also energy with that furniture, which is very strong. Queen, of course, keeps everyone together, similar to Skarath. She can actually keep everyone together within formations. Cursed Realm, very, very effective. Now, Rosaline, of course, if you're looking to ult and if you're looking to ult multiple times, she is the go-to hero, guys. Not only buffing the attack, the crit of the hero that she's following, but also the energy that she provides is huge. Now, Orthos, of course, being run with the original version of Taylene. Orthos, when he ults with the furniture, the strongest attack rating hero within the formation, or the strongest combat rating, will still move in the formation, which again is best in slot for a lot of different game modes. We have also seen him most recently being run with Matria in a bunch of different game modes in that same effectiveness. And then we have Tarnos in here, guys. Of course, that is the Treasure Scramble. He is similar to the Awakened version of Thane, meaning that he is super, super effective and strong within PvP, within the Treasure Scramble. Short of that, we're not seeing him used so much. Celestial Tower, absolutely. But again, it sees like he is slowly kind of falling down the tier list as we continue to get more heroes. So guys, looking at the rest of this tier list, I'm just going to kind of show it here. The B, C, D, and E. So the E tier are the heroes you absolutely do not want to build pretty much throughout AFK Arena. There's no reason. The D tier is really heroes that have a very, very unlikely usability, kind of like the E tier. But when it comes specifically for the tower, the D tier can work in the tower. Even like Ty Lee requires a little bit of an investment, but short of the tower, she's not really used in any single game mode, which kind of rings true with the majority of these. Even Nakaruru, guys, we could probably put Nakaruru down here, again, for the effectiveness or no effectiveness that we see. And then Thane is a little bit effective, but at this point, I don't know many players. Older players have him built, and he has to be built up very, very high. But overall, I don't even see him being run in any of the tower formations any longer. Now, looking at the C tier, this one gets into, again, kind of the utility within the towers, and that is where you see them. Thorin, of course, used in campaign formations. Pippa is used literally just to teleport Thorin. Oku, the towers, very, very effective as a tank within the towers, but when you take him outside of the towers, and I know a lot of players kind of talk about the niche ability or utilizing the hero within the campaign, things of that nature. Guys, for a lot of heroes like Oku, a tank is a tank is a tank. You could sub in a bunch of different heroes and still have about the same effectiveness as Oku. But remember, these tiers are the ones you really don't want to do a big investment in, that you're not going to be building out, that are lower down on the tier list. Again, Torn used to be a little bit effective. Gorvo, of course, in the tower, just a little bit of effectiveness. Same with Peggy. A lot of players say having Peggy built makes a huge difference. But overall, guys, to invest in Peggy for literally just the towers, I do not like doing that at all. I do not want to invest in heroes that are specifically just for the towers. And then as you get into the B tier, guys, these are a lot of the effective kind of filler heroes. Most of them have niche, like the duration that we have with Khazard is going to extend the duration. Brutus, of course, has the immunity. Granite, of course, has the petrification with the plus 30 signature item. Mahira with the Charmazard team, so Mahira goes together with Khazard. Moriel, short of the tower, not a lot of utility. Even a lot of these heroes used to be used quite a bit, and at this point, guys, even like Audrey, short of the tower, not really used. Tower, not really used outside of there. Even Isolde. Astrilda, you could, depending again where you are. She is a pretty decent buffer, but overall, again, the utility of her has been kind of replaced with Vithiel. We've also seen Tamara's. We've seen a couple of heroes that have kind of replaced the formations that she was running in. Now, Baba Yaga, I know some players absolutely love Baba Yaga. Went kind of back and forth, which she could go to the A tier, could go to the B tier. And for Trucker for Life, there we go. I'm going to put her up to the A tier. Again, I feel like a lot of players, and he's kind of explained it a lot over on YouTube, a lot of players don't have her built out, don't see really the effectiveness, because she does require a pretty decent build to be effective within formations. And again, a lot of players do run her in PvP as well. It's kind of a weird formation that people find challenging to deal with, because it is not just the cookie cutter formations that we normally see. Now, looking here, guys, again, Warwick doesn't really seem to have any play anymore. Tresnar with a little bit of the immunity. Ezio was running with the awakened version of Brutus for a little bit. I don't really see that anymore. Zap Moriel again to the towers. Antandra's pretty much at the tower at this point. As we continue to get more heroes, it seems like not a lot of effectiveness. Even looking at Tassie and Sonya, Fane, heroes of that nature just kind of going to the tower. But all right, guys, so that'll do it for our updated June tier list. Wanted to add a couple more heroes in here. Need to get that icon for Demia, and then we'll go from there. I like the tier list. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Any feedback, greatly appreciated, guys, as we continue to build this. And I am going to try to do it every single month as we add 2 new heroes every month. As we see heroes drop out of the Curse Realm and the Nightmare Corridor, we can swap some up in here. So again, let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.